So, hello guys, welcome back to BIM Talk series. I'm here with Sharwari. She's been working in Ireland since 10 years and she's from India. Let's hear her story about architectural journey and BIM. So, Sharwari, can you introduce yourself?
Yeah. Hi guys, Sharwari here. I'm from India and I've been living in Ireland for 10 years now. And I did my architecture undergrad in India in MIT and I studied in UCD here. I came in 2015. It was 1 year's master course, and since then, when I got a job in construction industry, I've been working here in an architecture practice.
So, why did you choose architectural course and why Ireland for masters?
Oh, okay. So I was always fascinated about Europe. I never liked America or Australia or New Zealand. They were not the countries I wanted to go. Europe is so different. Every country has so much to offer. You can see things that are not like just concrete jungle and glass facades. So I was like, yeah, okay, Europe. And then because Ireland and UK are the only two English-speaking countries, it makes it much easier to move where English is the first language, whereas say if you go to Germany or Spain, you have to learn the basics of the languages. And then I applied in UCL London and I applied in UCD Ireland. And as you know, international students have very expensive course fees. I decided, I got a scholarship from UCL and it was very little compared to UCD. UCD offered me 50% of scholarship, which was no-brainer for me to take the offer, and that's why I moved to Ireland instead of UK. So yeah.
Interesting. So, can you tell me more about your master's program in sustainability and how did that shape your, professional journey in Ireland?
So I did my master's in sustainable building design and performance. It was more like a theoretical master's than design based. And if I have to say, compared to the 5 years of architecture in India, the 1 year of master's was equal to the same thing. The education system is completely different here when you compare it to India because, I get it, 5 years, you learn a lot, you do things that you need, but also there is so much that you don't require in the industry that you study in India. So this was more focused on particular thing. I know masters is mainly focused, but yeah, it was quite interesting to get to know a lot more. And India is not very. Sorry.
That's fine. That's fine. Do you need water?
No, I'm fine. I think
I can get a glass of
something went
water.
into my
Yeah, that's fine.
throat. Yeah.
That's fine. You're gonna start from where you
Yeah.
were speaking about.
So, yeah, the master's here is different than India. So it was very, because it's a 1 year course, there is so much that they try to cover. And because in India, sustainability is not that popular. So back then in 2015, coming here and getting to know a lot more other things was like eye-opening.
Okay. So after completing your master's program here, how difficult it was for you, or what was the journey for you to get the job here in industry?
So when I finished my master's, back then architecture or technologist wasn't in critical skills or anything like that. And it wasn't a very popular place to get the work visa or anything like that. And also I didn't get the job in construction industry or architecture immediately. After finishing my master's, I think 3 or 4 months I worked in Burger King as a full-time, part-time employee kind of thing while looking for my jobs, considering to survive in Ireland, you would need some backup, like financial backup. And yeah, but then when I got a job, I got it in the construction company first because they were sponsoring my work visa, whereas in architecture back then, they weren't very open about sponsoring visas and things like that. Like as I said, it wasn't into critical skills. But yeah, and I worked in the construction industry in the company for a good few years. And once I got the stamp 4, I moved to architecture practice, and since then I've been working in different architecture practices. I personally like residential sector because I think it's just my personal preference. I mean, and even my master's was about residential sector and modular construction and how sustainability and modular construction can achieve their net zero building target and the housing crisis. So yeah.
Okay. Interesting. And how did you approach for the company for the recruitment?
So I approached them through like recruiters, and some of them I applied because I was new. I didn't know many people here, and considering that I didn't have a lot of classmates because it's a master's course. When I moved here, I think I had like 5 classmates or something like that in one class, so didn't have many contacts. So I just reached out to few recruiters, and some of the people that I knew, the architecture practices that I come across when I was studying in architecture, I just directly approached them and just sent emails.
Okay. So you also worked in India for 1 year,
Yeah.
right? And your first year in Ireland as a professional in construction industry. What was the major difference, or what was the benefits or the plus points about working in Ireland?
So the thing is there is no hierarchy as such here. Everyone is treated equally regardless they own the company or you are a fresher. Whereas India, there is so much hierarchy. Everyone is treated differently depending on what level of education you have, what level of experience you have. That was a good thing because then you can be easy going with everyone. That makes it easier for you to approach people, to your bosses and things like that. And not only the friendliness or nature of it, but also the work hours. It's more consistent here, whereas in India you would go to work say 9 o'clock, you don't know what time you're coming home. Here at least 9 to half 5, you're sticking to your hours. I'm not saying you never have to work late, yeah, or times yes you have to, but otherwise it's more consistent and there is no issue with oh, I want to take a leave, whereas most of the time it is approved here. In India it's not the same case. And when we talk about work, the thing is it's a lot more stricter here, following the building bylaws, planning applications and things like that, like fire cert, disability access certificate and all of that is considered as a huge thing, whereas in India you build things where you can get away with these things.
Correct. Yeah. Okay. And when I started working here, the first challenge which I faced was, understanding the accent of, the people who are working with me, mostly the Irish people. So I never understood in first month or 2 month what they are saying. I always used to say, yeah, I will do that. But was there any type of cultural challenges understanding their language or understanding their accent or anything else?
Yeah. So with the accent, I don't think it was that bad. Of course, there are certain slangs we would call that you would understand. Like if someone says that's grand, you don't know what they're saying. Like grand could be for us, grand is something huge. Yeah. But here it's yeah, how was your weekend? Grand. How are you? Grand. So, the slangs were the things that was oh, okay, you can't just ask that was a different thing to understand in the beginning. Accent, I think, depending on what part of Ireland you are living. Dublin accent is still subtle, but if you go to Cork or Kerry, you are not understanding what they are saying at all. Yeah. Depending on what part of Ireland you move to, the accent would be a challenge. Even same with the UK. If you are in big city in the UK, you're fine. But if you move to say Liverpool, the Scousers accent you would not understand. So, yeah.
Okay. And how does your day look like right now when you're working in an architectural field? How does your day look like along with all the routines?
So basically, I'm an early riser, so I normally wake up early enough to go to the gym, then go home, freshen up, shower, get ready, and then I start work at 9. So my work hours are 9 to half 5. So I would just go to work at 9, make my coffee, have breakfast and things like that, and get started with work. Sometimes there are meetings, sometimes there are site visits. So depending on what I'm doing, if I'm just sitting in the office, then I just get started with work, and we get 1 hour lunch break. But it's also not you're constantly sitting there. You can always get out of your desk for a bit of a breather or fresh air or something like that. It's not that strict. As long as you get your work done and you're keeping your bosses happy, you're always fine. It's not oh yeah, okay, you just have to sit at your desk for 8 hours straight. So yeah, and when I finish work, I'm just go home. Usually on weekdays I don't do a lot of things, but on weekends, or like say Friday, we would sometimes go out for a few drinks after work with my colleagues and things like that. But that would be it. And weekends are just weekends, depending on what I feel like doing. I do like going out for brunches and food, so that involves a lot of my weekends or traveling. So yeah.
Okay. Interesting. You are having a very healthy lifestyle here, and work-life balance is also good.
Yeah.
So now, if I want to talk about the work-life balance compared to India, many of the viewers will be, watching from India, and they are not happy with their work-life balance. So, what do you think about European or the Ireland work-life balance compared to India?
So the good thing is like you will have such a work-life balance where you have like a professional life, a personal life, a good balance between it, and a social life. Whereas in India, it's very difficult for you to have all those three things balanced at once because you spend so much time in work. I'm not saying like you don't spend so much time. Like on a weekdays, I spend so much time in office. Like 8 hours of my day is gone in the office, but also I still have evenings for myself. Whereas in India, I don't know, my 8 hours is written on the paper, but I am there 10 hours, 12 hours, and no one appreciates your work. Over here, at least people appreciate what you're doing, and then they credit you for your work. Whereas if things go good, they take credit in India. If things go bad, it's on the team. Like so, you don't want to be in those kind of situations because as a professional, you are also trying to grow and learn and achieve things, and you are also trying to climb the ladder. So if someone is helpful, it helps you a lot, and you feel much better and confident in yourself. But if it is always the blame game, you don't feel confident enough. And if you're spending too much time in work, you're never happy, and then you spend all your weekend just at home sleeping because you're like, oh, I'm so tired. Plus it's 5 days a week here. I think some of the companies in India, it's like alternate Sundays you get, Saturday Sundays you get. So that's beneficial because then you can do something on a Saturday and then you can keep Sunday for yourself. Whereas just a 1 day off, you're like, oh, I have so much to do, like laundry, groceries, and also I want to meet my friends. So that doesn't happen easily in India. Whereas here, you can plan things in advance because you know your schedule is not going to change. Your boss is not going to call you on a Saturday morning saying like, oh, can you come because there is a deadline. You know, Saturday is off. That means it's off. So yeah.
Okay, so if I share my experience, like when I used to work on site in India, I was also, working on Sunday sometime, or sometime on, in the night shift. Like I'm doing the day shift and then also the night shift in the same day. So that type of environment was, like
It's
not
toxic.
helping me. Yeah,
It's very
because
toxic. You don't
it
have
is.
a personal life as well. You
Correct,
can't
yeah.
plan something with your family or
Yes.
friends, or like you can't even have enough time for your for your own health consciousness or
Correct.
something. Like imagine you're every day spending so much time in the office that you don't have time to work on yourself. Like so, yeah. Regardless, it could be a gym or yoga or something that you're doing for yourself, which you don't get in India. Whereas I have time here for work, to learn, to do things outside work as well for myself and with people. So yeah.
Yeah, so that was also my, like experience after coming to Ireland. Like I started focusing on other things, like the goals, life goals, which I wanted to do. Even this podcast series, which I started now, I was planning back in India.
Yeah.
But I never got that opportunity or chance because there was no time,
Yeah.
But
Everyone was like, yeah, okay, I can do it. And then
Yeah.
after that, oh, sorry, my boss called me in. So, yeah.
exactly. And even you can focus on healthy goals like, getting on with your fitness,
Yeah.
getting financially plan,
Yeah.
productivity plan.
Or even like if like, yeah, fine, it's a Friday and Saturday, Sunday is time off. So maybe Friday you finish work and you want to drive somewhere nearby. You can do that here. In India, you don't know what time you'll finish work. And by the time you finish, you could be exhausted to drive somewhere, even if it's 1 hour, 2 hours drive. Then you just say like, okay, fine, I'll not do it. So, yeah.
Okay. So, if we are talking about a lot of stuff that there are more benefits of working in Ireland compared to India, what is the one thing which you miss the most about India, professionally and personally as well? Like,
Professionally, I haven't really worked there that long to know what I miss about it because the time period that I worked was very short. Yeah, I say that like I was close to home, but also the thing is like you don't really get that much time to spend with your family. Over here, even if I'm this far, I can take a month off and I can go home and I can just enjoy my holiday without someone calling me saying like, oh, you have to come in because there is something. Whereas in India, that wasn't the case. Like, you probably would get a last minute call and you had to reschedule your holiday. So you're not really spending time, even though you're close to your family, you don't have time for family. So yeah, and other than that, I think I miss having the family and friends, like I have a lot of friends here. I've been living here 10 years. When I came here, I had no one, and now I have created my own community. I have built my life here, and I do like it here. But it's just that, sometimes, so like when I'm going to India, it's always excitement. But when I'm flying back, it feels like, oh my God, I have missed out on so many things. Like, my cousins got married, my friends got married, someone had a baby, and then I don't see them for a year or so. So like, that FOMO that you have, that I have when I'm living here. But yeah, and also I don't really miss summers in India, but I look forward to the summers here because it's always gray and gloomy and cold here. So one nice sunny day makes it worth. So yeah.
But if you ask me what I miss the most, I will say the food. I don't get jalebi fafra here, or dokla,
or vada pav,
khakra,
pav
pav bhaji here in
or street food
in
like
Ireland.
pav bhaji.
Correct, yeah. So
Pani puri. So yeah.
pani puri, 7 flavors pani puri.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the thing which we are missing here, but that's fine. Like,
Yeah, but
it's
we
worth
have a
it.
lot of Indian restaurants here that give you like food. It won't be as authentic as India, but like you'd still get close to it. Like, you would not feel like I also know a few places around here that serve a big thali, like a vegetarian thali. So it's not like you're missing out on it. And I know, like, even in India, you are not going to eat the whole thali every day, or you don't eat butter chicken or pav bhaji every day. It's like an odd time luxury thing, which you can still do it when you go out here. So yeah, like the homemade food. Yeah, if you'll ask me, I'll be like, yeah, dal chawal is what I miss because it's basic, or thepla because I can't make it and you don't get it here. So yeah. So the basic comfort food is what I would miss, like especially when my mom makes it. It makes a huge difference. So yeah.
Correct. So let's talk more about architectural field.
Yeah.
What type of project are you working right now, or what was the most exciting project you have worked till now? Like, any of the project details which you can share about.
Oh, okay. So I used to work in different kind of industries before. So I worked in a modular construction industry, and it was different because all my life I've only known traditional construction, but modular construction was like rapid and things like that, and it was part of my master's thesis as well. So I had known about it like theoretically, but in practical world it was completely different to know that like you could build these modules and like bring them on site and then put a building together. So that was a quite different experience because I have seen like the foundations going, the building getting constructed, but not like the modules getting transported to a different country and put them together, and then that is like a place where people live in, or like a school where kids go there. So yeah, that was very interesting. I know like there was a stigma attached to modular construction back then where people are like, oh, like it doesn't really work, even though most of the Scandinavian countries, they used it in after the World War II to get rid of their housing crisis and things like that. So yeah, I know it is booming now here as well, but it's not as popular as it is. And after that, I worked in a company where I mainly worked on data centers and industrial design. But for me, I got bored of it after a while because it was repetitive, and I felt like I needed to come out of the comfort zone and challenge myself. With residential sector, like even though it's very similar, like things happen like very same, buildings are similar, but it also still feels more creative. So yeah, that's why I switched now, and I work in a residential sector now. So yeah, I'm working on a building in Galway. It's a student accommodation. So they have started doing things on site now. So hopefully it will be finished by the mid of next year. So yeah.
Okay, so have you also worked on other international project in Europe or any other countries?
Yeah, I have done a few projects in the UK. but not outside UK, like mainly in the UK. And yeah, but then they have like similar building regulations and bylaws, which makes it easy. But when you go a bit further, say like outside UK and Ireland, then you have to learn about the building regulations because it differs. It's not exactly the same. So
correct.
you need to know about everything, how the industry works in those countries before you do things. Like it's not a huge difference, but still, those minor differences make a huge difference when you try to build a site or building. So yeah.
Okay. So, when was the first time when you were introduced to BIM, or was it through the company, or was it you which got into the BIM? Like you started exploring yourself, or how was the journey of BIM introduction in your professional life?
So when I worked in the first company here, in the construction company, they were switching from AutoCAD to Revit. And at that point, I got introduced to Revit and I saw a few things and I was like, oh, this is very interesting. And like the things you could do when it's a 3D model and software like that is a lot better. Like imagine changing a window in a CAD, then you're changing on elevations and sections and everything like that. And it takes so much time. Even if you think like, oh, it's a minor change, you could spend hours doing that and then PDFing and printing. Whereas in Revit, when I started it, I only learned Revit when I moved here. I didn't have that in India. I was only working on CAD back then, or SketchUp or Photoshop. But when I moved here, I got introduced to Revit and they sent me on a Revit course, which was like a 3 days course just to get an introduction and get the basics of it. And then after that, I just kept practicing and then I learned it over time. So since then, I'm like, okay, I'm not going back to CAD unless it's absolutely necessary, because you could do so many things with Revit and BIM. And now everywhere they're trying to move from AutoCAD to Revit and Naviswork and all these softwares, because you can do a lot more than you can do in AutoCAD. So yeah, the transition is important. I feel like it will be only beneficial in the long run.
Correct. I think that's the whole point, like why we are shifting into the BIM industry. We are trying to reduce the waste. We are trying to be more agile while using, tools like Revit, Navisworks. It helps us coordinating better, communicating better, and the main purpose of BIM is, adding value to the construction project.
Yeah,
right.
And it also helps you save so much time with the clash detections and everything like that, because now when you get a model from like MEP guys or structural guys or civil guys, you can just import them all together in one software and the clash detections become so much easier. Like, yeah, I get it. Like in Naviswork, you can do the clash detections and things like that, and then it gives you a report. Like you still have to check on your own manually, but it still helps in a way that you could miss out that in a 2D software.
Correct. Yeah. Okay, so you are working right now in residential sector, right? Is it mandatory to use BIM here or implementing BIM here in Ireland?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think so, because like we said, like it would save a lot of your time doing the drawings and coordinating and doing the clash detection. So why not? And especially like everyone in the industry is moving in that direction. So yeah, I would say so.
Okay. So Ireland is having right now, a mandate that if the project value is more than 100 million, public projects for now, so then they have to compulsory, or it's mandate for them to use, everyone, all the discipline has to use the BIM. Okay. But still some of the client or some of the developers and the consultant and the designers, they understand that even if there is no mandate, right, even if we don't have that requirement of BIM in the project, if we implement that, it is benefiting us, right? As a designer, as a developer or contractor, it is benefiting us, comparing to the traditional method of using AutoCAD and then going to the construction site with a lot of unstructured data.
Exactly. Like with BIM 360 and those kind of softwares, it makes a lot easier for the site guys as well, because they can just put up a big screen on site and rotate the models, check things and look at it in a proper 3D way rather than just the 2D drawings. Plus you're saving a lot more money with the printing, because in architecture you spend so much money in printing A0 follow A1 drawings, and it's just a waste of paper, like, and it's not sustainable or it's not recyclable or anything like that. So we could save so much of it by installing a big screen where people on site can see things and work through it. And there are things like BIM 360, there are other softwares that help you just use the 3D model. You don't need to know the whole Revit to use those. Like, you can just twist and turn around, rotate things, and you would still be able to see those drawings, zoom in, zoom out, which makes a lot more easier than looking on the print, even though it's A0.
Correct. So, which are the tools which you are using right now in your architectural job?
So I mainly use Revit. Other than that, now it's work for clash detection, for presentations and things like that, Photoshop or SketchUp for basic things when you know it's a conceptual model and you don't want to spend too much time just to show clients how it's going to look like when the building is done. So yeah, and then the usual Word file, Excel, the basics of it. So yeah, and AutoCAD sometimes, because when you have to do like a survey drawing, they come in AutoCAD or like PRSI maps or something like that. Those things are always done in CAD. So yeah, for site plan also, or landscape designing is not something I do, but when I get the model from landscape designers, it's mainly in CAD. Maybe they will switch to Revit, but eventually, yes. At the minute, it's only civil, structural, or MEP guys that have moved with architecture in Revit. So yeah.
Okay. And when was this? Like, when did you first started working with BIM?
So 2017 was the first time I started using it. I wouldn't say I was fully aware what exactly it was. I didn't know all the levels of BIM back then, but now with time, after working for so many years, I have got to know, like, okay, a lot more, like what's there and what we can do with it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So, BIM in 2017 and BIM in 2025 right now. Do you see that more people are getting into the BIM industry? The students who are coming from, post-graduation or graduation, are they having those type of skill set of the BIM, like using the tools of Revit and all this thing? Is there anything major difference which you can, observe comparing 2017 versus 2025 in Ireland?
Yeah, so when I started, I think it was only like a few people that knew Revit. And the thing is, like, even now, when you go into the offices, there are people who has been working for like 40 years. They find the transition from AutoCAD to Revit or BIM very difficult, and they don't want to switch it either, because they probably have another 20 years in their career, and they know with their experience they can still get paid, they can still have a job, and they can do a lot more. But I would suggest people who are students now and then graduating, I would hope that they know how to use these things, because you're not bringing the experience that the people who are using CAD and not wanting to switch to Revit, they have experience, so they are still gonna have the jobs, whereas the students that are coming out of the university now, they don't have experience, and if they don't know the software, then there is a very little chance for them to land a job that would give them benefits, or they would be able to even land a job in the first place.
Yes, correct. Okay. So let's talk about the students who are, coming to Ireland right now. Do you think is this the good time or the good opportunity for people who are doing architectural, or they are working in architectural firm in India, and they are, looking forward to do masters or coming here directly for a job? Is this a good opportunity for them? What do you think?
So I think if you want to move to a different country, it's always good, because you get a lot more exposure, you get to meet different people, it opens you a lot more, and you become more independent, because you're starting your life from scratch, leaving everything behind that you have and starting from zero is a huge thing, but you learn as you go. Like, when I came here, I had no one, and now I consider this place as my home. Like, if I have to call, like, now I don't know what's my home, like, is India my home? home? Is Ireland my home? Because both the countries have given me something. I have achieved few milestones in my life. I have also become Irish citizen recently. So, for me, both of them are home because I was born in India. I've lived most of my life. My whole family is there. But also Ireland has given me so much. But also it depends on how adaptable you are. If you move to a different country and you still want to have everything like India, you're not going to have that. You are going to have those challenges. You're going to have to be more open and acceptable. Put yourself out there to even make friends. No one's gonna just come to you and say yeah, okay, fine, let's be friends. So it's difficult, but it's not impossible because you and we moved here and we have made our own communities. So it's not impossible. And in terms of jobs and everything like that, don't think you come here and you have a job in your hand immediately. Yeah, if you come for a work, yeah, but also even if you come directly for work, it's not going to be an easy transition. You could be working in India for 5-10 years, but it's completely different here when you compare to what you were doing in India. Not only in terms of work-life balance, but it also in terms of how much you can give, how much you learn in the company, because everything here is about your experience and how much you're willing to learn. People are always going to help you and support you if you ask for it. But yeah, like they say, no question is a stupid question. So yeah, and as a student, I would say yeah, of course you can come here. I know a lot of people have to get the education loans and things like that, but always think that what if it doesn't work out? What if I don't get a job? I have to go back. Don't come here thinking that oh yeah, if I go there, I spend so much money, I'm gonna get a job, I'll be able to pay for my education loan and things like that. It's not that simple. I know these education consultants in India that are trying to send you to get their money from universities for sending students. That's their job. They're getting their commission. That's why they're doing it, and they're painting this pretty picture of it. It's not that simple. When I came here, I told you I worked in Burger King for a few months before I got a job after my education. And if I wouldn't have gotten a job, I knew I probably would have gone back to India, because if you're not getting a job that is not sponsoring you for work visa, then you're stuck. You can't stay here forever without any permission. So yeah.
Okay. So working in Ireland, getting experience of 2 or 3 years, and then coming for masters in India is a good decision, or doing bachelor's and then directly going for the masters in Ireland is a good decision?
So the thing is, in India, you do get the internship when you're doing undergrad, at least in architecture. So you learn it, but it's not enough. And even if you work in India for say 1 or 2 years and then apply for masters and come here, your expectations are probably a lot higher, because you're oh, I worked there, I have experience. But your experience is not counted because you had experience of a completely different construction or architecture industry, which is not similar to what we have here. So when you come here, you have to start from scratch again. So the earlier you do it, the better it is. And there is no shame in saying yeah, okay, I have a master's degree, I have worked for a few years and I have experience. But when you start working here, you realize it oh, my experience is not as much as I thought it was. For India, it was, yes, 3-4 years of experience in India and you get another job in India, it's relatable. But here, it's not so much relatable. Yeah, but getting that exposure to the professional life in India it's beneficial. At least you know how it works in the office and things like that. So yeah.
Correct. So why is it so different, and why Indian experience for architectural cannot be used in when you are working in Ireland? Is there any specific reason for that?
So like I said, everything in architecture is about building regulations, building bylaws, and I don't even know. Like I said, I haven't worked in India that long to know how the whole process works. But over here, you have to do the site surveys, then you do the design, and you apply for planning application. When the planning application get approved, you also have to put up the newspaper notice, which I have never heard in India someone doing it. If you're doing an extension or attic conversion or changing windows even externally, you have to apply for a planning planning permission here. Like you send a planning application and everything like that, and you put up a newspaper notice as well, which you submit along with your planning application, because someone in your neighborhood could have an objection with what you are doing. But in India, I don't think anyone has objection with anything. There are certain rules here where you can't have a building so close to one another, where you can see from one's balcony to someone else's apartment, like, because the privacy. Whereas in India, we could be like, oh, calling out neighbor, giving like, oh yeah, do you have extra milk today? Can I borrow it? So yeah, I think like a lot of it is like privacy. And again, like I said, I know they are starting to use like fire certificates and everything like that in India now, but it's very strict here. Especially after the incidents in London when the building fell off in Grenfell Tower. So since then it has become, it was always there, but since then it has become a very important thing. Even with disability access certificates, all the building needs to have certain level of that, because you can't just keep buildings that are not accessible for public, that are on a wheelchair or something like that. So I haven't seen in India like they implement these things. Maybe they do now. Like I said, I haven't been working there. Like I haven't worked in India that long, and it was 10 years ago, and I was just out of the university when I started working there. So maybe what they were giving me, my experience was as a graduate experience, and now maybe they use all of this. So I'm not saying like it is a good thing or a bad thing. I'm just saying like it's a lot more different here.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Just two of the question. Quick one. Okay. Huh?
You said only two more questions.
Yeah, two more questions. Like, you covered most of the part, right?
Yay.
Okay. If someone is doing architectural job or architectural, bachelor's in India, what are the skill set that person needs to have if they want to work in Ireland, or if they want to do masters in BIM, just specific to BIM?
I think for BIM, like you would need to know like the usual softwares that they use, like say Revit, Navisworks, and
BIM 360.
BIM 360. Like even if you don't know them fully, you need to have the awareness of it. You need to know how to use it. Even if you know the basics of it, like as a graduate or as a student, you are not expected to know everything, because like you learn a lot more things as you start working, and what you learn in the university is completely different than what you do in the practical world. Like what it is in the university is a lot of theoretical knowledge, and you can do designs and you build things that are like practically not possible to build. But when you actually do things in the office where this is actually getting built, you realize that, oh, I can't have a curve just going like that because the structural engineer would not approve it or something like that. So like the practical side of it would be there. And with the softwares, like we said, like those are the basic softwares you need to know. Like if you know those softwares, I think like you know a lot more than you think. Like that could be a starting point, and then once you start practicing it and using it, you would just learn it as you go. And a lot of companies would be very supportive of it, or you can just learn it on your own. Summer break, or when you have a spare time, just go online, Google a few things, YouTube it, because there is a lot more you can do. Like I said, if you know the basics of it, you can at least get started somewhere. But if you don't know anything, you don't know where to start.
Yeah. Okay. So I think also some of the masters program in Ireland, they have started, introducing BIM, as well as for architectural there is a sustainability and building performance module.
Yeah.
So even if you are not having any idea about BIM, there are some masters course that can help. You said that you did.
The thing is, like when you are coming here to do a master's, you need to be very sure about what you want to do. It's not like, I just want to go abroad and study. Like you need to see where you find your niche, where your interest lies, where you see yourself working and being happy for the rest of your life. Because you just can't say like, I want to be a product designer, and then because there is no course but you want to move to a different country, so you just pick urban designing. That's not good for yourself because you'll never enjoy your career. And like I said, we spend 8 hours of our day working, and you need to enjoy your job. If you don't do that, you'll never be satisfied or happy.
Correct. 3 days course
In Revit,
for
yeah.
Revit. So tell me about it. Like, what was that? Like, in which year and from where did your course?
I think I did it when I started my first job here. So if I have to guess, 2017 is when I did the 3 days course because, like I said, they were transitioning from AutoCAD to Revit, and they wanted more people to start working in Revit and get to know about it. Like people who were graduates from here,
Yeah.
they had a better idea. But coming from India, I didn't have that.
Yeah.
And so I can't remember where exactly I did the Revit course.
Was it external?
Yeah, it was external. I think it was somewhere in Sandyford, maybe like
ArcDocs?
yeah, ArcDocs. Yeah,
That's why I was going to ask you that question
Yeah.
because I assume that it will be ArcDocs.
yeah. So I did the 3 day course in ArcDocs. 3 days is not enough, but it's still is a good point to start and getting to know it. I'm not saying you will learn the software in 3 days, but at least you will know how the software work, how things are, how to use basic software. And the more you practice, every day you will explore something new. Like even after spending years working in Revit, there is something that I don't know and I see and I was like, oh my God, I didn't know about this. So yeah.
Okay. So I was trying to get to that question because I also did one course. I was in India, but I was part of one of the competition of World Skill competition, and there is a competition for BIM, right?
Did you also
So-
do ArcDocs?
Yeah, and my mentor, who is professor in IIT, one of the IIT in India, so he chose one of the company, and that was ArcDocs, and I got a course of around 5 days on architectural, structural, and coordination, BIM
Yeah.
coordination on BIM 360 and ACC. Okay, so I know some of the guys here, and now I'm wondering that I am sitting here in Ireland, and I have also met them in person now, like when I was in a BIM Coordination Summit in
Yeah.
2024 last year. And I also met them, so I feel really, really, happy about it that I took the course from these guys, and I also
Yeah.
am sitting
And you
right
ended up
now.
being here,
Yeah,
like,
yeah, exactly.
Like how it started and how
Yeah, exactly.
like how it's going.
Yeah.
Like our Instagram language where we are like how it started, how it's going. So
Yeah.
yeah, it started with you just doing a random course online for 5 days, and now being in the same country where you did the course online and meeting those people in person.
Correct.
So yeah.
And you are not only the first person, the, uh, the first interview which I did, she also did a course with ArcDocs, and that's why I was trying to figure out, okay,
Yeah,
that
I
can be
think
ArcDocs.
Yeah, I think it is very popular. Like ArcDocs is one of those companies where everyone goes related to BIM courses. So yeah.
Interesting. So I was not expecting that part, but yeah, it turned out to be good for ArcDocs as well.
Yeah. Publicizing, marketing them, but it's our commission.
Oh yeah, we can visit Sandyford anytime.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, so let's get to last of the question. How do you keep yourself updated with new industry trends and developments going on in architectural or in BIM or anything, any platform or any newsletter or any podcast you refer to?
So, like you can, like because I work in an architecture practice, we get a lot of like RIAI stuff delivered, the newsletters and magazines and things like that. So you get to know about a lot of projects, what people have built in the year or in the month. I think it comes every month or two. So that keeps me up to date with architecture stuff. Then you have LinkedIn, and then there are other things like personally, I'm also very interested in LEED and BREEAM. So USGBC website
Yeah.
is one of those websites that I would use for sustainability side of it. And also I have a lot of friends, and now I've been working here for so many years. I have contacts, and like in my company, my boss, he's been working here for so long because it's an Irish company and Irish people are there. So from them also I learn a lot of things and I keep myself up to date. But I would say mainly LinkedIn, and like because if you have interest, you will look for things online, like on your own also. Someone doesn't have to feed you all the time. If you want to learn, if you want to do things, you just push yourself into it, and then you do that. Or you have friends from architecture backgrounds and things like that, and then you have conversations with them and you get to know things that you didn't know. And like in architecture, it's not only just one industry, there is so much that goes into it. Like even in just the sectors, like there are so many sectors that people use, and then there is so much that you don't know. Like even though those people are involved in the project, you don't know what exactly they are doing until you talk to them, and then they tell you about their job. So
Okay, interesting. So, like there are so many different softwares and plugins right now available in other software as well, like Revit, Navisworks. There might be some new software now. Like we might not be using Revit in future, but there will be something new which will be, replacing.
I think like because the industry is always moving forward with different directions, and like it's always bringing better stuff. Like say, we know, like we started with AutoCAD and SketchUp, and now see there are a lot more like Lumion than the softwares for like even doing the daylighting and things like that. Like daylight report is done by using the software where you can put a building and put up a location and a coordinates for the site, and then it would tell you what side of the window is going to be the hottest one, what room is not going to get the enough light, and things like that. So I mean, these are the things you do manually, but like who knows, maybe tomorrow AI will have something like that. You don't have to put so many things and add things, that it would just pick up from the location and would give you the reports. Like
Correct. So that's all for our third episode of BIM Talks with Sharwari. And Sharwari, thank you so much for giving.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you so much for giving lots of insights about Ireland, about architectural industry here, and some of stuff which should be like people should be aware about if someone is coming from India or someone is working here.
Other than work, you guys should be aware of the weather here, okay? We have the longest day in summer, we have the shortest day in winter, and sometimes it could get depressing because, the sun rises at like 9 a.m. and sets at like 3:30 or 4, but you just get used to it. Like, it's like, there is a saying, they say like Irish summers are when the rain gets warmer. Like just expect yourself that the weather might not be exactly what you are used to, but you get used to it. Like, so
you have to adapt to it. So just now it was like raining 1 hour ago, and right now you can see it is a little bit sunny. There are people going around.
You see 4 seasons here in one day.
Correct. So that's all about this episode of BIM Talks, and we will see you in the next episode. We're gonna sign off for now. Thank you, Sharwari.
Thank you. Bye.